Hello, today we're gonna be reading some more viral rice cooker recipes. It's gonna be a good time. So I know we've already done one of these a while ago. I remember last time when I was doing my research, there was just so much more good stuff that I could find on the internet that I feel like would be really useful for us to experiment with and learn more about. So here it is, the sequel. Reading the comments of the last video, I feel like a lot of you found some really good recipes in there. I did try to find some that were a little less diabolical this time. Ideally recipes that are more on the tasty side. So here it is, another collection of 8 viral rice cooker recipes. Whether it's a new take on a familiar recipe or an improved version of a previous recipe or something totally new. As always, it's gonna be a lot of fun. So let's get into it. Okay, so starting off with sort of an ambitious one, where we're essentially making some cheesy risotto in a rice cooker. I'm just using normal short grain rice here though. It goes in with the water and the milk. Not all the milk though, I'm saving some for after. Then a little bit of bouillon for depth, a splash of soy sauce, and some strips of bacon. And then the cheesy part comes in the form of this entire wheel of camembert. It's the star of the show, unwrapped and just, gently placed right in the center where it's going to slowly cook and melt down as we wait for the rice cooker to do its magic. The rice ended up absorbing all the liquid just fine, and the camembert should be this molten, gooey situation that just melts right into the rice after we add a little bit more milk. Makes everything creamy and luxurious. Smells great in here, smells like pasta. So then serve it up, finish it off with some grated cheese on top and some fresh black pepper, and I guess we do sort of have a risotto after all. This one smells like carbonara. Maybe a little mushier, but the smell and the visual is giving sort of like a carbonara risotto of sorts. There is a lot of dairy in here. The milk, the cheese, the entire wheel of camembert, which I will say I'm actually not the biggest fan. It can be a little pungent at times, which is funny coming from somebody who loves durians. I feel like when you kind of mix it all together, the smell kind of like becomes a little more mild and you have this sort of like smokiness of the bacon coming through. Remember how I said it looks a little mushy? Surprisingly though, the rice is still somewhat al dente. The rice has been cooking in that sort of cheesy milk mixture for so long. You really taste it in here through and through. As it lingers though, I do feel like the flavors do get even stronger. Personally, I think it may be a little too much for me, but I appreciate it for what it is and the joy that I think it will bring to a lot of people. So I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. The price point of this dish is a little up there. The entire wheel of cheese in here is quite a lot. But otherwise, my cheesy carb friends, you will love this. Scallion chicken is one of my favorite dishes. And today I learned that it can be done in the rice cooker. So this one does require a little patience up front, but it supposedly will be worth it. I have my chicken legs here. I just, patted it dry, then just giving it a nice massage with the marinade, some salt, soy sauce, sugar, oyster sauce, white pepper. Then I'm letting it sit overnight. The longer the better here for maximum flavor. So then the next day I'm prepping my rice cooker. I'm just making this base cushion of ginger slices and a lot of scallion. Then the chicken legs can just rest right on top with the rest of the marinade poured over, and off it goes. This, I feel like, took about an hour or so. And then I just let it rest on warm mode afterwards for another 30 minutes. So then it's very tender at this point. It also smells very comforting. So then to serve this up, the key really is to first, drizzle on all that sauce left over in the rice cooker, add a little more soy sauce if you want, pile on fresh scallions, and finish with some hot oil poured right over the top. And now that's some fine scallion oil chicken right there. I have to say I was very excited about this one. I love scallion chicken. The original recipe, they actually use a whole chicken, but I feel like that can be intimidating for some of us. So I wanted to try using chicken leg as a substitute, and honestly, I feel like it comes out just as great. But I honestly am just most impressed by this sort of like hands-off method. The marinating, of course, does a big part of the work, but after that, it really is just sort of like a smooth sailing process. Oh, it smells so good. The chicken is tender enough for me to just take a big piece of. If you didn't tell me, I really wouldn't have known that this was made in a rice cooker. The marinade, along with this sort of like steam cooking that's happening in the rice cooker, just results in something that's like flavorful and juicy. That like flash of hot oil at the end there just really ties it together. The meat still has a bite to it. The beauty of using a bigger piece of meat, you're just here to reap the rewards after letting it do its thing in the rice cooker. I would give this one a 9 out of 10. I would make this one again. This next one is probably the simplest rice cooker recipe by far, and I think that's kind of the point, just perfectly cooked sweet potatoes. I just gave these smaller ones a wash and cut off both ends, and then instead of using an additional tool for steaming, the potatoes actually go right into the base pot, where I'm also adding about 1/4 cup of water to the rice cooker. And that's really it. Just letting them cook on the regular rice setting, leaving it on warm for another 30 minutes to an hour. This way it slowly draws out, you know, the natural sugars in the potato, making it way sweeter than if you just boiled or microwaved it. This comes out incredibly tender, and you don't even really need to add anything else. It's simple, but it just works perfectly. The way this is just, it's just so beautifully tender in here. Oh, I'm such a sucker for this sort of texture. I always either roast my sweet potato or pop them in the air fryer. This method is a little more like steaming it. I'm trying to like remove the skin. It kind of just comes off very easily, which is kind of nice. I'm actually a little disappointed in myself for not having thought of this before, because of course it would work. Look at that. You see the shine on there. Sometimes I feel like when you roast in the oven for too long, you lose that moisture, but here, there is none of that problem. This has cooled down a little now too, but I feel like it's almost even more creamy. It's kind of like eating a moist cake. It's that sort of satisfaction. Could even pop it in the freezer. I bet this is going to taste just like ice cream. I think I might actually start doing this for all my sweet potato. A 10 out of 10 for me. So simple, right? And I'm saying this as somebody who makes sweet potato a lot. So creamy, so smooth. All right, I have to say, as someone who's made a bunch of recipes with apples, I'm kind of mad I never thought of doing this before. Poaching apples in the rice cooker. It's just as fancy, but it's so easy, and the ingredients are super simple. You just spread a tablespoon of butter onto each apple. I use salted here, it just saves me from adding a pinch of salt. Then my sugar goes on top. My apples are a little tart, so I'm being a little more liberal with the sugar here. Then I'm also adding some lemon juice and just pouring a little water around the base. So this goes right into the rice cooker. And what happens in there is kind of magical. The water, the butter, the apple juices and sugar, they all cook down into this very nice caramelly sauce. It has this sort of like slightly thicker syrupy texture, which I personally really enjoy. So then this slow cooked golden sauce can be drizzled right over the apple. Also a generous drizzle of honey for a touch of smoothness, and it's the perfect cozy dessert for fall. This one smells like apple pie. And also that kind of like caramel sauce that we poured on at the end there. It is, I guess, with the butter and sugar and the apple juice itself, we are, in a sense, making a little bit of salted caramel. It has the sweetness of the apple. Woo-hoo. The inside, that's what it looks like. Kind of looks like the sweet potato from earlier. I can't get over how good it smells. I forgot it's still warm, of course. I'm like surprised because I wasn't expecting very much out of this. I was like, oh, okay, poached apple, how good can it be? It'll probably just be a soft apple. But this is actually, it is like the warmth and the comfort of the apple pie filling. This with some ice cream and the caramel sauce drizzle. The other beauty of this is that you could probably make a bunch of this in the rice cooker at the same time. Saves so much time if you're hosting. Even just the sauce alone is pushing this way up there for me. I want to give this a 9 out of 10. That's how impressive this is. I know it's a while until fall, but
Remember, mark this down, when you have some apples, this is going to be a really fun dessert to try. I feel like I could drink it.
If you're a fan of silky, barely set steamed egg that kind of jiggles, turns out you can make that in the rice cooker. The key with steaming eggs, right, is that it's gentle, even heat, which is exactly what a rice cooker should give us. So I have my eggs here and my broth. I'm using beef broth, but you can do whichever one you like. The ratio of egg to broth here is really the key. So I'm just mixing all together, straining it through a sieve, which I know feels like an extra step, but this is mainly to help it texturally, to keep it silky, so don't skip. So I just pour that into the pot, drop in my shiitake slices and my aromatics. I used shiso here, but cilantro or spinach should all work. Then that goes into the rice cooker where it should cook for about 20 minutes or so. It should come out soft and wobbly, almost custard-like. Mine here is not perfect, I have to say. I think my rice cooker got a little too excited, but it's still soft, it's still jiggly. So I just serve it hot with a little extra broth poured over, and this should feel just like a warm hug.
Ooh, this one smells very nourishing, which makes sense. It's pretty much just egg and broth. Just feels like one of those wintry comfort dishes. The egg was a little overcooked here. It's not supposed to be bumpy, but it is still very, very jiggly, which is promising. The texture is still very sort of like silky smooth, just goes down. You don't even really need to chew very much. It really is just the quintessential steamed egg. This would be great if you just want something that feels a little brothy and warm and easy to eat. Right now, I think it is a little undersalted, but that is an easy fix. Even though this one doesn't look perfect, I feel like it tastes pretty high up there for me. So I'm gonna give this a 7.5. Can you do better on a stovetop? Maybe, but as a hands-off method, it's pretty good for what it is.
Okay, this next rice cooker recipe is basically a 3-in-1 meal. We're steaming dumplings directly over rice in the rice cooker all in one go. And parchment paper is what we'll be using instead of an extra plate, with bean sprouts as the base. And then for the dumplings, the technique here is to scoop it into these balls, kind of like cookie dough. That's why I'm using an ice cream scoop. And then instead of folding them, the trick is to dip a wrapper in water and then drape it over each meatball and sort of just press and pinch it down firmly so it hugs the filling tight. You think of it almost like putting a little hat on, though you do need a firm grip here or it will lose its shape. So then our parchment packet should go right over the washed rice, and it can just cook like normal. Everything should steam together perfectly, the rice, the bean sprouts, the dumplings. When it's done, the parchment paper should still be intact. The rice at the base might be a little squished, but otherwise still fluffy. And for the dumplings, I'm just finishing it off with, a little bit of condiments, soy sauce, vinegar, chili oil, and you pretty much have a whole meal.
I am so intrigued by this one. Sort of like a shortcut dumpling. As somebody who likes bean sprouts, I like that this is cooked on bean sprouts. It seems like it's more of like a cushion for it to steam on, similar to the rice, which right here, I just packed it all into this box. I could eat it together if I wanted to. Again, I just used my usual dumpling filling, but you can do whichever dumpling filling you want. It looks like some alien entity at the back. The skin actually adhered to the meat filling pretty well. I can't say the same for this one. I feel like the benefit of this recipe is being able to cook a few things at once. Dumplings, a little bit of veggie, a little bit of rice, makes a complete meal. Wow, that was a really big bite. But hey, in terms of flavor, texture, it was like a perfectly steamed dumpling. Kind of want to try the bean sprouts on their own. I was worried it'd be overcooked, but actually held up pretty well. Now with a bite of the rice, Same thing for the rice, pretty well cooked. You know what, at first I thought this recipe was doing a little too much, but when you think about it as sort of like a 3-in-1 meal combo, actually pretty genius. You don't even need another tool to steam it together, it's just parchment paper. I would give this an 8 out of 10. It's very efficient, the things taste good. If you wanna save some time, I think it's definitely one worth trying. So I did try to make a giant pancake in the rice cooker last time. This time we're making another version using ice cream. Just 2 ingredients, that's it. Ice cream and pancake mix. And the reason this hack works is because melted ice cream is basically already a cake batter waiting to happen. Think about what goes into your standard cake mix. You know, fat, sugar, eggs, cream. Ice cream has all of that. So when you're doing this, it's not a shortcut so much as it is just chemistry. Really. A tiny squeeze of oil just helps it not stick and adds a little bit of moisture. It's optional. It does take a while in the rice cooker though. This took, I think, like close to an hour and a half, which is why the sky was dark by the time this was done. What I like about it is that it does pop out cleanly and it slices nicely. So this is me the next day. I'm just serving it up with some maple syrup, and as they say, let them eat cake. Here we go again. Last time I made a giant pancake, it didn't turn out the best. So I really wanted to try and find an improved recipe or something that was a little different. I do feel like it actually retains more moisture than our last attempt. It also smelled very vanilla-y when I first popped the rice cooker open. Today I used a vanilla bean ice cream because I wanted to see those little flecks of vanilla bean in there. Actually kind of worked. Outside of that, it is structurally sound, came out just fine, so let's see. Not bad. It tastes very nostalgic. Could be the combination of flavors I use. You know, like yellow boxed cake mix. Kind of has that texture. Just a very nostalgic eating experience. 6 out of 10. I think it's a solid cake. It's like fun to do if you're like craving cake. I don't know if I would serve this to people. Definitely better than my first pancake attempt though, I will say. This last one is a twist on a classic for me, Coca-Cola wings, which is usually done over the stovetop, but this time we're doing it in a rice cooker. It's the same process where the wings get a quick marinade, so I'm just tossing it with a little soy sauce and salt. Dark soy sauce too if you want a little more color. And just like that, into the rice cooker they go, just getting all of that marinade in there too, along with an entire can of cola. The sugar in here does a lot of heavy lifting for this dish. That's why we're putting all of that in there. And also just a little bit of sliced ginger. This is what we're essentially going to be braising the wings in, where the meat is going to be cooking, you know, low and slow in this sweet, savory liquid in the rice cooker and become more tender and flavorful as time goes on. So I like to just give it a mix halfway through, and by the time it's done, you should have wings with a nice color on them, and it should be tender to a point where they fall right off the bone. Coca-Cola wings. This is such an iconic dish for me. I grew up having this so much. It was one of the first things I learned how to cook because of how easy it was. I know it's an entire can of Coca-Cola, but it's the sugar. It's the sugar in it that we really want. I am a little sad that in the rice cooker, it didn't quite caramelize the way I wanted to. In the rice cooker, we can't really control the heat as much. But what it can do is that the meat now sort of just, look at that. The bone just slips right out. So all you get is this big chunk of meat. Taste-wise, it really doesn't taste too different. It's kind of like that sweet soy sauce. Think of like teriyaki. The meat, however, is a lot more well-cooked, slow braised, stringy texture. This might be personal preference, but I like it with a little more bounce to it. And the sauce, while it's really good, I do wish that it sort of clung to the outside of the wing a little more, which is what I love about this dish, and that is probably why I'm a little more critical. Don't get me wrong, overall it is a solid chicken dish. But for me, this test was very much about seeing if I could achieve that same satisfaction of a dish I'm very familiar with. Because of that, I would give this a 6 out of 10. But there it is, another collection of 8 viral rice cooker recipes, tried, rated, tested. I feel like today's was actually pretty enjoyable overall. Maybe I took the no diabolical situation a little too seriously, but I feel like a lot of the ones today I would probably also continue using in my everyday life. Let me know if you have a favorite or if there's another rice cooker recipe that I'm missing that you're curious about. I feel like we could keep this going. There's so many more to explore. But for now, as always, if you like this video, remember to like and subscribe. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed and I will see you in the next one. Bye.